Yes, absolutely. Irina, stay with us. We will stay on this topic and look at some of the wider reactions, starting off within the Middle East. And the Islamic Jihad, a key Hamas ally, says it backs truce talks with Israel but wants stronger guarantees that any deal will lead to a permanent ceasefire. The group says it has given Hamas a set of detailed suggestions on how to implement the mediator's proposal and insists Israel must be prevented from resuming strikes once hostages are freed. Irina, of course, there are groups within Palestine allied with Hamas. The situation has been a difficult one, and I want to turn this to the humanitarian aspect now. Of course, hostages being held by Hamas dead and alive, but also a situation in the Middle East, in the Gaza Strip, with reports of humanitarian crises, with famine, hunger, and also living conditions where people have been displaced. Do you think this is a signal that the situation in Gaza is turning to the point where Hamas can't ignore it, and other groups aligned with Hamas can't ignore it either? A move towards a ceasefire needs to happen now to protect the citizens living in the Gaza enclave.
There's a couple of things going on. First, the citizens of Gaza themselves starting to join on Hamas, because Hamas has repeatedly rejected the efforts to put an end to the war and furthermore has directly contributed to the humanitarian situation by confiscating aid and selling it off at higher prices and creating an artificial crisis that needs not to happen at all. But there is another aspect to it, which is Hamas and the Islamic Jihad are in a desperate situation. The chief patron, Iran, has been significantly defanged and may have a great deal of trouble of backing them at this moment financially or with arms. So they're kind of stuck in a situation where their leverage has been significantly eradicated by the direct attacks on their funder, and they need to figure something out before their own people turn on them. Islamic Jihad in particular has had a very direct Iranian role in its creation. It's a Shia group, and it has created extreme resentment not only in Gaza but also in the West Bank, where it's been a direct threat to the Palestinian Authority. So these are highly polarizing, divisive entities that are looking for a political maneuver to stay in power, to retain control, but at the same time to calm down the population and to refocus their attention on Israel rather than on themselves. Something they've done repeatedly in the past. Every time there is an economic crisis, they find a way to rekindle popular anger against Israel. This is exactly what happened with October 7th attacks. It came months after major popular demonstrations over the economic situation in Gaza and the fact that Hamas has been mismanaging that. So we are seeing a potential repetition. Now, the way Israel could handle it intelligently is not by arming warlords and equally militant groups, but for finding a pathway to, on the one hand, get Hamas out through a combination of means, military and political, but also by providing humanitarian assistance directly to the population. But at the same time, it needs to put an end to the sort of extremist rhetoric among some of its own politicians that only give political ammunition to Hamas and help that keep that anger rekindled and growing. If Israelis want Gazans to turn on Hamas to help put an end to the situation, they should not be creating any distractions and throwing any inflammatory rhetoric that keeps the attention on Israel rather than on Hamas.
Yes, absolutely. Irina Zuckerman, thank you ever so much for joining us and providing your insight there. We move on, and French President Emmanuel Macron and Malaysian Prime Minister